Hey guys, it's Will and Sam here, and here we are tonight with the Wrath of Magnus. 40k Gaming in Colchester have been very kind to lend us their store copy of the new book for us to have a review on. So go and check out their website, they're really awesome guys. I'll put a link in the description, but that's enough advertising. On with the review. So
just going to do the rules.
Yep, we're just looking at the rules. It comes in this really nice
hardback cover
binder, like the Curse of the Wolfen one. This is kind of the follow-on.
The Tau, Motka and the Kuyong, like those.
Yeah, those sort of things. There's nice little Tzeentch symbols on the back. And this is meant to be like the part 2 of Curse of the Wolfen, so it's another War Zone Fenris. So you got one of these nice fluff books in here, but we're not going to be reviewing that because that will just be spoilers. Read it. From what I've heard, it's awesome. We're going to be talking about these rules.
So we've got 2 detachments in here. One is a bunch of Demons of Tzeentch.
Cool.
So formations for Demons of Tzeentch. And then you've got the new Thousand Suns stuff.
And if you haven't seen it already, this new Thousand Sun stuff and Demon Magnus looks awesome.
I still think Demon Magnus looks like a bit of a tit actually, but it's the horns on his chest, they look stupid.
Fair enough. I personally like the model. It's a shame I've got too many projects on the go at the moment, otherwise I would be tempted to actually do an army of these guys, but way too much going on in life at the moment. So what have we got then, mate? You've got the book.
Well, first thing we get to is just the new units.
Yep, so we've got a bunch of new units here. The first one isn't strictly new, but I think it's new rules for an old guy. We've got Ahriman.
Ahriman is 230 points. Jeez.
He better be good at that price.
Yeah. This looks like it's a whole new codex just for these guys, so...
Yeah, it does seem to be a Tzeentch Thousand Suns codex as opposed to
you've got
a supplement for Chaos.
You've only got the one troop choice in there, which is...
Really?
Yeah, so, you could run it as a CAD, but you do have only the one troop choice.
Okay, that's interesting.
So Ahriman is at HQ, obviously 230 points. Weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, tax 3, leadership 10, save 3 plus.
So pretty standard Chaos Sorcerer.
Pretty standard. He's got an Inferno pistol.
No, it's an Inferno bolt pistol.
Inferno bolt. I think Inferno bolts are the AP3.
I believe you are correct.
26.
Let's just double check that. I say we've literally just got the cellophane off this.
Yeah, so Inferno bolt pistol, strength 4 AP3, range 12 pistol. Bolt gun, strength 4 AP3, rapid fire 24. Inferno combi bolter, same thing, twin linked.
And then this is a new weapon, the Soul Reaper cannon, which is a strength 5 AP3, 24-inch range, heavy 4 rending. So that's pretty decent. That's almost like an assault cannon with better AP and worse strength. What are you looking at?
I was just checking to see if they the Thousand Suns had slow and purposeful, but because it's heavy.
True.
So
we'll have a look at that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
I think they do, but we'll get to them in turn.
So Ahriman, Frag Crack and Aura of Dark Glory, so it's got 5 up invulnerable. I imagine that will increase.
I don't know if you've got something with that.
Well, he's got Mark of Tzeentch, which if this runs by the Chaos Codex, will give him +1, so he'll be a 4 up invul.
Okay, so that's pretty decent. So it's 3 up, 4 up, but nothing amazing so far.
Champion of Chaos, who's got to issue challenges and can roll on the boon table. Fearless, independent, Mark of Tzeentch obviously. Psycho Martial level 4.
Okay, that's good.
And Veterans of Long War, so he has hatred to Space Marines.
Now, powers-wise, he can pick
he's got a set wall trait actually, just quickly.
Okay.
Which is Martial Deception, which will be in the Chaos Codex, obviously.
Yeah.
So you're going to need your Chaos Codex to run this.
And then gets his powers from Biomancy, Demonology, Malefic, Divination, Ectomancy, Geomortis, Heretic, Pyromancy, basically all the Chaosy ones, Sinistrium, Telekinesis, Telepathy and Tzeentch.
So that's quite a range to choose from.
It does mean that to use all of his powers you're going to need the Traitor's Gonna Hate.
Yeah, Traitor's Hate's got the the other lists in.
Yeah.
But you can pick up the data cards and then use those instead.
Exactly, you probably don't need to get the full book, just get the cards, yeah.
I can take a disc of Tzeentch for 30 points.
And the new model has him on that. That's going to make him, though, 260 points.
Yeah.
And here's the big thing, though. Master of the Rubric. In a primary detachment that includes Ahriman, Rubric Marines have the troops battlefield role instead of elites.
So if you were to run this as a CAD, the Rubric, which are like your 1,000 Suns, I believe.
Yeah, your basic 1,000 Suns dudes.
They'd become troops, which would be pretty awesome. Be a pretty elitist army, but
I think that's part of the appeal of 1,000 Suns anyway.
Last thing is he's got the Black Staff of Ahriman.
Okay, so he can attempt to manifest the same witch firepower up to 3 times per psychic phase.
That could be pretty brutal.
And other than that, counts as a normal force staff. So
yeah, plus 2 strength, AP 4.
Yeah.
Makes him strength 6 with 3 attacks. 4 attacks, he's got a pistol.
So nothing too fancy in melee, he's only AP 4, but he can hold his own against weaker opponents, but you really have him for the Mastery level 4, all the different witch fires he can throw out, all the different psychic powers he can choose, and the ability to take Rubric as troops. I think that's why you're going to have Ahriman.
So you've got Exalted Sorcerers.
Okay.
They are 160 each. Jesus, they're expensive. Inferno Bolt Pistol, so AP3, 4 Stave, Frag Crack, Aura Dark Glory, so there'll be a 4-upping one as well because they've got Mark of Tzeentch. Champions of Chaos, Fearless, Independent Character, Psycho Mastery level 2, so start at level 2 is nice. Mark of Tzeentch and Veterans Long War, so Hatred Space Marines again.
Yep.
Can upgrade to level 3 for 25. Can take Chaos Rewards and Chaos Artifacts. Can take Disc of Tzeentch for 30.
Now, Chaos Rewards and Artifacts, that includes like a Spell Familiar, is it?
Yeah, you can get Spell Familiar in there, so you can reroll 1 psychic test per 10.
Which is nice, because you're going to be taking a lot of them with this army, I think.
Lords of the Silver Tower. Once per battle, instead of firing in the shooting phase, an Exalted Sorcerer can call upon the deadly firepower of the Silver Tower in the course of the battlefield.
Call on the deadly firepower of the Silver Tower in the form of a coruscating beam. See box on the right.
Range unlimited, strength 9, AP 2, heavy 1, blast lance.
Okay, so it's a blast lance las cannon with unlimited range. That's one use only. That's not bad. Strength 9, large blast,
And
AP 2.
the sorcerers are standard character stats, so weapon skill ballistic 5, strength reduction is 4, 3 wounds. 3 wounds is nice actually on a psycho level.
Yeah.
Initiative 5, 3 attacks, so there'll be 4 in combat because they've got a 4 stave. Leadership 10, save 3+. And they're fearless as well. They're pretty pretty bulky for pretty good stats.
Yeah,
wise.
they have stats almost up there with a Space Marine Captain, as opposed to being equivalent to a Librarian. And they've got the extra mastery level, and the coruscating beam, and Veterans of the Long War, and Fearless. So you actually get a lot of bang for your buck, and with Aura of Dark Glory and Mark of Tzeentch, I'm assuming, yeah, they're Mark of Tzeentch. So they have a 4-up armour as well, so these are significantly better than Librarians, and they need to be at that cost.
Yeah, but you can sink a lot of points into these, I can see.
But I think they, could potentially be worth it for the amount of psychic firepower this army might be able to do.
Right, so for troops, how do you pronounce it?
Tzaangors. These guys were originally in the Age of Sigmar Silver Tower box set. They're kind of like, certainly in Age of Sigmar, they were beastmen that Tzeentch has kind of modified to be more his type of thing. So they're like these blue chicken men, but in 40k they've somehow managed to get hold of bolt pistols and chainswords.
That's them.
So, yeah, it's certainly an interesting take. Gives you kind of a cultist type unit, but they're a little bit better. Here we've got weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 7, and a 6+ save. And you do get 10 of them for 70 points. So 7 points a model, So it's still pretty cheap for toughness 4 guys.
So you can add up to 20 additional. Jesus, you can have a unit of 30.
Which would still only run you 240 points without upgrades.
240?
Sorry,
210.
210, yeah. It's late, I can't math.
So 210 for 30 toughness 4 dudes. You got 2 combat weapons. So the fact that they've got auto pistols in their hand just counts as a combat weapon.
But then they can upgrade to auto pistols and chain swords at a point. So they've got the option of being pure melee or having that little bit of ranged attack.
Yeah.
Don't know if it'd really be worth it on what is essentially going to be a ballistic skill 3, strength 3, range 12 shot.
They've got relic hunters. Models with this special rule can reroll failed to hit rolls in combat against enemy models equipped with relics.
Or their faction equivalent. Okay, so if you've taken anything from the special relics, whether it be like chapter relics, chaos artifacts, signature systems, they reroll to hit against you, which is nice.
Pretty cool.
Probably not going to make them amazing, because most of these guys are going to be like HQs and probably have some kind of retinue, but certainly a nice little boon to remember.
May upgrade 1 Tzaangor to a
Twist Bray
for 10 points.
So that's a sergeant that gives them +1 attack
and plus one
leadership. So probably worth it for the +1 leadership, so they don't.
To be honest, I don't know how I'd run this army yet because I haven't seen the detachment. They have their own detachment, so it's iffy on how I'd run them. I'd probably just, if I were running them as a CAD, just 2 units of 70.
You mean 2 units of 10?
2 units at 70 points, yeah, just 2 units of 10, just to bulk out.
Objectives, yeah.
Just to bulk out your minimum because the rest of your army is going to be expensive.
Here we go with the first of the rest of the army. These are the Rubric Marines, or the Rubric Marines.
So these have replaced your 1,000 Suns. They are 150 points for 5.
Which means they are...
that gets you an Aspiring Sorcerer, which is a sorcerer level, mastery level 1. They're slow and purposeful, so yes, you can use the heavy weapon and still move.
That's good, but it does mean you can't fire Overwatch.
Yeah. This is the downside, but you've got a sorcerer in your unit, you've got Veterans of Long War, so you've got Hatred, your whole unit's got AP3 guns.
That's pretty decent. And they've got a funky new plastic kit as well, so they're going to have good
They've
rolls.
got a 4-up invuln as well, because they've got Aura of Dark Glory, Inferno Bolt Gun, and Mark of Tzeentch.
There we go.
They're also fearless. Yeah, so the Aspiring Sorcerer must take from Tzeentch Discipline.
That's fair enough. He's a mastery level 1, isn't he?
Yeah.
Does he have the option to upgrade? No, doesn't look like it.
Yeah, 23 points a model. Can upgrade Inferno Bolt. Any Rubric may upgrade Inferno Bolt Gun with a Warp Flamer for 7 points.
I bet that's an AP3 Flamer.
I would love that to be an AP3 Flamer. 27 did I say? 26.
Page 26.
24. 25. 26. Warp Flamer, Strength 4, AP4.
Okay, so
template.
It's a standard AP4 Flamer. Interestingly, the Heavy Warp Flamer, which I think we'll come across later in the book, is essentially an AP3 Heavy Flamer.
They have the Warp Flame special rule though, so anyone who's played Demons, it's the one that gives out, if you do a wound at the end of the phase, your opponent takes a toughness test. If they pass it, they gain Feel No Pain 6+ or +1 to their Feel No Pain. They fail it, they take another D3 wounds with no armour or cover.
So a little bit variable and fickle, but that's what you expect.
I wouldn't take it, I'd just stick with the AP3 Bolt Gun at that point.
Probably, especially if you're playing Marines a lot.
So.
But against Orcs, I think the Flamer option is certainly worth it. Maybe?
For every 10 models in the unit, 1 Marine may replace his Inferno Bolt Gun with a Soul Reaper cannon. So you've got to have 10, which would put you to 23 points a model. That would be 230 points.
It would be a little bit more because it's 23 for the additionals, so you'd be getting an extra 100 lots.
115, so 265.
Yeah.
I'll double check my math on that.
Yeah, while he checks the maths, I'll tell you that is 25 points a model for the Soul Reaper cannon, so it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, 265 for the unit, and then you want 25 for the Soul Reaper cannon, so that's a 290 point unit. If you put them in a Rhino, that's 325 points for 10 men.
So we're getting pricey, but these are 10 men with AP3, Fearless, 4-up in Vun, and bear in mind that firepower at that point is starting to get worth putting something like a Prescience on. And if you're playing this how I think they're going to work, you've got the option of... No, you haven't got the option... Oh no, there we go, Divination.
Yeah.
So your Sorcerers can take Divination. It might well be worth putting a Prescience on these guys.
I'm wondering if the Tzeentch discipline has been upgraded in this book.
Let's have a look.
Oh, no, the new disciplines are in this book as well. It's
Oh,
nice
that's
to know.
cool, so you don't actually need...
Yeah, discipline and Tzeentch is in here, so we'll go through that later, but it looks... Yeah, it looks alright.
So, what, the same as before, or...?
Same sort of thing as before. I think it came out in another codex, but we'll go over it in a moment.
Okay, what, the Chaos one, or...?
I don't know.
There's been so many books for Chaos, let's see if they can actually get
Yeah,
a good
they've
one
got
this time.
got the option of a Rhino as a dedicated. May take Icon of Flame, 15, Gift of Mutation for 10 on the champion, obviously. Melter Bomb for 5, Warflame Pistol for 5. Yeah, they're all pretty pointless upgrades that you probably wouldn't take when you've already spent 325 points on a unit.
Yeah, I think
For
these guys...
essentially tough as the Space Marines.
Yeah.
They're 1 wound, initiative 4. 4's down the line, yeah, they're just Space Marines, 1 attack.
And the problem with these guys is, although they've got a lot of buffs, they will still go down as easily as Marines against things like Bolter Fire, Scatterbikes. Sort of non-anti-armour weapons are going to really give these guys a pain in the butt.
So, moving on, we have...
Scarab Occult Terminators. So the Scarab Occult were the elite of the Thousand Suns. I think a lot of this book seems to be borrowing names that were used in the Thousand Suns Horus Heresy novel, so have a read of that.
These models are the Heresy-style Terminators.
They are, and by Heresy style he means Tartarus pattern, not Cataphracti pattern. So they're the slightly lighter Terminator armour, but I think, yeah, they just count as regular Terminator armour. But the Scarab Occult were the Thousand Suns elite back in the days of the Horus Heresy.
So they're 250 points for 5. You get 4 Terminators plus a Sorcerer Terminator. Sorcerer Terminator can pick from all the disciplines as previously stated, same as Ahriman. They all get Infernus Combi Bolters, so Twin Link Tapey 3 bolt guns, and Power Swords.
And they are marked by Tzeentch as well.
Yep.
So they're 4-up in Vun. Okay, yeah.
The Cycle's level 2, and they got Hatred Space Marines again. And Fearless again. And Champion of Chaos. Additional 5 for 40 points a model.
Which isn't bad, considering what you get.
For every 5 you can have a Heavy Warp Flamer or a Soul Reaper Cannon. A Soul Reaper Cannon on there would be funny.
That would stack nicely with the Combi Bolters as well.
Do they have Stone Purposeful?
But they're Terminators, so they have Relentless.
Yeah, Stone Purposeful and Terminator armor aren't the same thing. You can still Overwatch and Terminator armor.
Yeah, that's why it's Relentless, not Slow and Purposeful. Terminator armor gives you Relentless, so they haven't got Slow and Purposeful.
So they can still Overwatch, which is nice.
I don't think you'd want to be charging these guys, though, considering what they're packing: Power Swords and AP3 Twin Link Bolters.
Yeah, I don't think you can upgrade the Power Swords by the looks of it.
No, but you can. The Sorcerer can swap his Combi Bolter for an extra power... for a Power Sword, so then he'd have a stave and a sword. Which is nice.
I say the Soul Reaper Cannon's a 30 point upgrade, the Heavy War Flamer's a 15, and then you've got for every 5 models in the unit, 1 Scarab attack. They take Hellfire Missile Rack.
Okay, so this looks like a Cyclone Missile Launcher. Please tell me it's a Cyclone Missile Launcher for Chaos.
Hellfire Missile Rack, Strength 8, AP 3, Heavy 2.
Range 24, so it is a slightly shorter range Cyclone missile launcher, but it fits in with the rest of these guys being range 24.
I wouldn't bother taking that, to be honest. It doesn't fit with what the rest of the unit wants to do, really, because the rest of the unit's around Strength 4, Strength 5,
Yeah,
so it wouldn't fit. And for 20 points...
fair enough. You'll have to find another way to get your high strength shots in
And
there.
they're elite as well, so both the Rubric Marines and Terminators are both elite. So that's giving you a few new options. Now, the big boy himself, Magnus the Red.
He's a Lord of War, which we expected, because all the Primarchs in Horus Heresy are always Lord of War, so makes sense for Magnus's as well. But he costs even more than the Heresy Primarchs. At the moment, the most expensive Primarch from Forge World, Horus, is 500 points. What does Magnus cost?
Magnus is 650 points. He is a flying monstrous creature, so he's not gargantuan. Also, the FAQ came out for the main rulebook, so gargantuan creatures that they can choose what fly mode they start in. So you can start on the board in swooping.
You mean flying monstrous creatures?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So he can now choose to start swooping, that's good.
And when you deep strike, you can also choose what fly mode you come in. So you can come in on the ground or in the air.
That helps your Bloodthirster out a bit.
That does help with like flying monstrous creatures that want to be on the ground when they deep strike in and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, 650 points. What do you get for that? Stat line? Weapon skill, ballistic skill 7. His strength and toughness, strength 8, toughness 7. 7 wounds, initiative 7. 6 attacks, leadership 10, save 4+. So he's only got the 4 up armour, which is weak.
But that is coming off a toughness 7, 7 wounds.
4+ armour also helps against grav, I guess.
Yeah, he's actually slightly less vulnerable to grav.
Special rules: Adamantium Will, Demon of Tzeentch, so he gets to reroll his saves of 1.
Okay.
Deep Strike, Eternal Warrior, so no instant death. Fearless, Fleet, bloody hell. It will not die. Cycle level 5.
I believe this is the first level 5 cycle we've ever had.
And Veterans of the Long War, so he gets Hatred Marines.
The Omniscient Eye. Magnus has line of sight to every unit on the battlefield when determining the target of his psychic powers. So that's cool. You can run, but you can't hide.
Unearthly Power, Magnus harnesses warp charge points on a result of a 2+ when attempting to manifest psychic powers.
Nice. So he's going to be very dice efficient with that.
Yep. Lord of Flux. He's got a Warlord trait, Lord of Flux.
34 Warlord traits for that.
Yeah,
one.
no, I'm just... Ahriman's Warlord trait is from the Chaos Codex. This one, Lord of Flux, 34.
Is a new one.
It's alright.
Oh, hey, you're right, Dave. We're
Just reviewing
we're
it
filming
now.
it now, so yeah. But
Lord of
the
Flux.
model's looking gorgeous.
Enemy units within 12, your Warlord tree, all terrain, even open ground as difficult terrain. In addition, all models in the enemy
units that run, turbo boost, or move flat out within 12 inches must take a dangerous terrain test. Okay, so he's even dangerous just to be around.
Yeah, so he basically creates dangerous terrain and difficult terrain. That's kind of useful. Psychic powers. He knows Gaze of Magnus, which is not there.
Hang on, so I can Magnus knows the Gaze of Magnus, which is on page 27.
Gaze of Magnus. So it isn't a Tzeentch discipline, so you won't lose your psychic focus. Oh, Jesus. Warp charge 5. So you need to throw...
On average 6 dice, so I'd throw 7 to be sure.
Warp charge 5.
Yeah, he casts on a 2+ there, doesn't he?
I guess. Yeah, if you're only failing 1 on 6, so yeah, you want to be throwing 7 dice. As perils.
You're risking perils, although I imagine Magnus has a way around that. We may or may not see.
It's Gaze of Magnus is a beam with the following profile: 18-inch range, strength D, AP 1, assault 1, soul blaze.
He has a D beam.
Yeah, D beam. D-beam right in your ass. And he's a flying monster, so it's just like fly, 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 D-beam.
So there's a flying D. So there's a beam of D on a flying monster, and because he's a monster, he can go from any angle. You can't avoid line of sight because he has line of sight to everything, although I don't think that matters so much with a beam.
Yeah, so...
And you're realistically going to need 6s to hit him because he's flying.
It's still a lot of points for a D-beam.
It is, but that's just one of his powers.
Also, he's unlike the rest of the book, which has got psychic powers list coming out of the Jaxi. He can only choose from Tzeentch or Change. So you'd probably just run him purely off Tzeentch.
I would have thought so, so you keep the psychic focus. Thing is, with Mastery level 5, he's going to have 5 powers, so chances are you're going to get the spell you want, and he's going to have psychic focus, so he's going to have 7 powers.
His weapon, the Blade of Magnus, strength user, so 8, AP 2, melee 4, soul blaze, transmogrification? Mogify, sorry.
Which is on page 27. So it's already basically a strength 8 AP2 force weapon.
So transmogrify.
Where be that rule then?
Inferno. Transmogrify, there it is.
Yeah.
Any wound to roll made of a 6 by an attack from this special that has a special rule causes instant death. So instant death on a 6.
Any model slain in this manner, then you may immediately place a new Chaos Spawn model under your control as close as possible to where any of the slain models were standing.
Jib, turn you into a spawn.
So on a 6, he insta-jibs you and can turn you into a spawn.
Jib spawn.
And you get to control the spawn.
He's also got the Crown of the Crimson King, 4+ invulnerable save.
And never suffers from perils. I told you he'd have something against perils.
That is pretty sweet.
So yeah, you can throw those 7 dice at Gaze of Magnus, D-beam everything, charge into combat, hit your opponent's general, insta-jib him on a 6, and turn him into a spawn.
And it's not like you're not going to have the psychic dice. He gives you 5, and then every unit, bar the Tzaangors? What are they called?
The Tzaangors.
Tzaangors has a psyker in it.
So as you'd expect from the Thousand Suns, they have a hell of a lot of psychic dice.
So that is it for units. So we're on to formations.
Now,
before we go any further on the formations, I'm going to flick to the main detachment so we can see how these formations would be used.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pretty pictures.
Why would they put the pictures between the formations and the formation rules?
To confuse you, because GW like that confused look on your face.
That was a Demon Prince. Oh, yeah, Demons this way.
Yeah.
Falcon Sun. Here we go. So, benefits of this formation.
So this is called the Sons of Magnus, Thousand Suns Grand Coven. This is the Thousand Suns big formation.
So restrictions.
Just the normal.
Yeah, the normal. Command benefits.
Lord of Fallen Prospero. If this detachment is your primary detachment, you can re-roll the result when rolling on the Thousand Suns Warlord table on page 34.
Whoop-de-doo!
It's a re-roll on a Warlord table, it's what you get. Masters of Arcane Knowledge. If a psyker from this detachment suffers perils, you can choose to re-roll the result. In addition, psykers from this detachment can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power in each psychic phase. For example, a Mastery level 3 could attempt to manifest 4 powers.
That rolls in with their new FAQ that they brought out of limiting the amount of powers the psychic can cast to their Mastery level.
I see.
So, not a massively great benefit, I don't think. You can re-roll your perils result. Does that result on the table or your leadership test?
You can choose to re-roll the result, so I would say that's re-roll your perils, so at least you're not going to get sucked off on a 1.
I guess. So it's 1 core, 0-4 command, and 1+ auxiliary. So
Okay.
core-wise, we've got the War Cabal
And the Sekhmet Conclave. The Sekhmet were Magnus's inner circle pre-heresy.
and then a load of other auxiliaries.
So you're So those are your cores. Your commands are the Rihati War Sect, Ahriman's Exiles, and Lord of the Legion.
And then for auxiliaries, you've got the War Coven and Tzaangor War Herd. You've got Demon Engines, which is basically a Demon Engine, which is Defiler, Forge Fiend, Hellbrute, Helldrake, Maulfiend. Helldrake, nice.
You can have Helldrakes.
Just for one of those, and Legion Armour, Land Raider, Predator, Vindicator.
Okay, so you can get some tanks in here.
With the Traitors Hate giving you squadrons of Predators, Vindicators, that's quite nice.
Choose, one unit's chosen from the following, yeah? So that would make sense.
You've got options for cheap auxiliary if you just want to throw a Demon Engine into your list. So,
or a Hellbrute, or a Helldrake.
Well, with the Hellbrute's now having 4 attacks, they're actually really good. So, first core, the War Cabal.
Yep, so this looks like a pretty standard mix and match formation. So one of the following, so basically the guy who leads it is either going to be Ahriman, a Demon Prince, an Exalted Sorcerer, or a Sorcerer. So you can pick up units from the Chaos Marines book with this. So you've got your normal leaders, 1 to 3 of Exalted Sorcerer or Sorcerer, so you get more Sorcerers, 1 to 3 units of Rubric Marines, and 1 to 3 units of Scarab Occult Terminators.
So, yeah.
So at minimum, you could have, running as cheap as possible, 2 bare-bones Sorcerers, a unit of Rubricae, and a Scarab Occult unit.
Or you could go Ahriman,
3 Exalted Sorcerers.
Yeah.
3 maxed out units of Rubricae and 3 units of Scarab Occult.
If you've got 3,000 points to play with, why the hell not? So, special rules.
Favoured of Tzeentch.
The War Cabal contains the maximum number of units, then all units from this formation can reroll fail saving throws of 1.
If a War Cabal contains the max... Okay, that's a bit of a... Okay.
The maximum number of units.
So that would suggest you have to have 10 units in total.
I mean, you can just take bog standard sorcerers, which are like 60 points in the Chaos Codex. So, you know, they're pretty cheap. So you can do it cheaper.
And run min size on the Rubricae. But it's still 3 units of Terminators at 250 minimum plus upgrades.
Yeah.
That's going to be expensive to make the most of that. So this other rule better be
And all you
decent.
get is reroll saving throws of 1. Admittedly, that makes your Terminators 2+ rerollable.
Which is 2+ rerollable
That's
with a 4+
pretty sick,
infun.
yeah.
That means you're failing 1 in 36 saves.
Yeah, it's like, unless you're being hit by Grav or Plasma, nothing's taking you that out quickly, because you're not just going to get bolted to death.
Nope.
Because the idea of taking out Terminators when you don't have like those reliable mass AP2,
you just bolter them
you
and they
bolt
just
them
fail
to death,
saves.
but that's not going to work on them.
No. Ocular Guidance. If a Psyker from the War Cabal successfully manifests a psychic power, the Psyker and any War Cabal unit he is part of or has joined can reroll failed to hit rolls of 1 until your next psychic phase. That's good. So if any Psyker in a unit casts a power, the unit get reroll 1s to hit until the next psychic phase.
That's pretty good. That's your core, isn't it? So just flick.
Yeah, I believe that's one of your core choices.
Yeah, that's one of your core choices. The other is the
Sekhmet Conclave.
So Sekhmet Conclave, let's go to that. Here we go, Sekhmet Conclave.
Is one of Magnus, Ahriman, Demon Prince, Exalted Sorcerer or Sorcerer, and get this, 3 to 9 units of Scarab Occult Terminators.
9 units of Scarab Occult Terminators.
That means you can have Terminators, a formation made basically entirely of Terminators, apart from the leader, as your core.
Yeah, just checking there. It just says restrictions. This is a 1,000 Suns detachment.
It's a 1,000 Suns detachment. Yeah.
So benefits, you get that. You cause fear. Whoop-de-doo.
And units from this formation. Units from this formation have +1 toughness as long as they're within 6 inches of at least 2 other units. Okay, so if you've got a character joining the unit, he's still.
He becomes part of that unit.
Okay, so you'd need to move them in formation, but
And it's also got the if you have the maximum number of units, you can reroll saves of 1. So if you've got 9 units of Terminators, you get to reroll that save and give them +1 toughness.
250 points minimum, so 9 times 250 is 100 before. That'd be 2,250 points plus a character, and so you're looking at you'll be playing Apocalypse at that point.
It'd be funny. It's just like, this is my army. I've got
9 units of Terminators. Oh, and Magnus.
Yeah, that's a 3,000 point army there.
But a 3,000 point army of toughness 5, rerolling 1 to wound Terminators, all with sorcerers leading them.
Yeah.
And then Magnus with his D-beam.
I think I'd be more inclined to go with the War Coven.
I think the War Coven gives you a more balanced force for standard size games.
Oh, the War Cabal, sorry.
War Cabal, yeah.
The Coven is an auxiliary, isn't it?
No, the Coven is the Grand Coven is the overall. Oh, the War Coven.
Yes, an auxiliary.
Oh, that's
so we've got the actual War Coven. So you've got War Cabal and the War Coven here.
Yeah. So the Coven, this is the first of your auxiliaries. 1, either Demon Prince, Exalted Sorcerer or Sorcerer, and then 3 to 9, Sorcerers or Exalted Sorcerers.
Just take a bloody army of sorcerers.
Well, that is essentially what the Thousand Suns are.
Again, if it contains the maximum number of units, you can reroll fail saves of 1. So 10 units. Mm-hmm. You could just have 10 sorcerers.
It's still 600 points minimum.
If you take 10 of the Exalted Sorcerers, that'd be 1,600 points before upgrades.
Okay, here we go. Before generating powers, the models from the War Coven, you can choose a single cult of Ancient Prospero from those listed below. All units in the formation then count as having belonged to this cult and harness warp charge points on a 3+ when attempting to manifest powers from their cult's associated psychic discipline. So you want more background on where these come from, again, read the Thousand Suns book from the Horus Heresy, or listen to the audio. It's a really good audio book, actually.
But yeah, basically you pick a random name that goes down the list, and you can choose to manifest a discipline. So
you can tell he's not read the book when he says random name, because these are key to the storyline.
I have no idea.
The Pavoni are the Biomancers. The Corvidae, which were Ahriman's original faction, get Divination. The Pirae get Pyromancy. The Raptora get Telekinesis, and the Athenaeans get Telepathy.
So basically, you focus your psychics on one discipline, get your psychic focus, and then just choose that discipline as. Do you have to pick one cult for the whole squad?
You can choose a single cult of Ancient Prospero from those listed below. All units in the formation then count as having belonged to that cult. Yeah.
So you can't mix and match, you have to choose one.
So you'd probably run it minimum size, maybe an Exalted Sorcerer and 2 regular Sorcerers?
You'd have to run 4 Sorcerers at minimum.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's not a bad little auxiliary there.
Certainly plays into what this army seems like it wants to do, which is just have masses of psychic power.
Right, the Warherd.
Tzaangor.
Tzaangor Warherd. What's in this one?
1 Exalted Sorcerer or Sorcerer, 3 units of Tzaangors, and then 0 to 6 additional units from the following: Tzaangors or Chaos Spawn. So in theory, you could have 9 units of Tzaangors and an Exalted Sorcerer.
They gain fleet, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Tzaangors units from this formation can run
and charge in the same turn. Avaricious Vigor. Units in this formation.
Hold on, you haven't finished. In addition, Tzaangor units roll more.
Roll 9 or more for their charge rolls, add 1 to their strength and initiative in the first fight subphase.
So if you roll at 9 or more, you get +1 strength and initiative.
Bear in mind you have fleet, so the chances of rolling 9 or more are a little bit higher.
Yeah, and then Favoured of Tzeentch.
If a Tzaangor Warherd contains the maximum number of units, then you can reroll saving rolls of 1.
Useless, they've all got 6 up saves.
Yeah, not really worth it on these guys, especially as you would be looking at a minimum of 3 Tzaangor units, and then
I think you take that formation if you wanted to bulk your army out with mass.
yeah, I mean, to be honest,
This is going to be quite an elite army.
yeah. So you take these guys, maybe 3 big units of Tzaangors running across the board to soak fire and maybe get into combat.
Right.
Bear in mind, if they get in against a unit that's got an artifact and they get a 9 on their charge, potentially they can do some real hurt.
So that's the Conclave file. We've already read that one.
Yeah, we've seen the Sekhmet already.
Ahriman's Exiles. That's a command option.
Okay, so this is Ahriman and 3 to 9 Exalted Sorcerers. So this formation is going to have a lot of psych because it's Exalted Sorcerers. Can't take regular ones for this.
So Ahriman and models from this formation that are within 18 inches of him harness the warp on 3+.
Nice.
So yeah, basically Ahriman just creates a bubble of improved harness there. And contains the maximum number. You get to reroll saving throws of 1. I'm noticing a pattern.
Yeah, you're not going to take Ahriman and 9 Exalted Sorcerers. Just no.
Oh my god.
Okay, you thought that formation was big. Here is the Rahati War Sect.
This will be another command, so it's Magnus the Red and 3 to 9 units of Demon Princes or Exalted Sorcerers.
Magnus and 9 Demon Princes.
Must upgrade to level 3.
So everyone who can has got to go to level 3. Okay, so this is going to be expensive, but again, masses of psychic power. The Court of the Crimson King. While they are within 18 inches of Magnus the Red, Demon Princes and Sorcerers from the Rahati War Set harness the warp on a 3+, when attempting to manifest psychic powers, and they have line of sight to every unit on the battlefield, so they can essentially use Magnus's Eye and get +1 to harness. And favoured of Tzeentch again.
Yeah, if you've got all the models, so Magnus and 9 Demon Princes.
Or Magnus and 9 Exalted Sorcerers. Then you can reroll ones. At that point, you've just blown your opponent off the board with psychic power. You don't need to reroll ones.
So that's all the formations, I believe. Yeah, that's all of them.
So pretty compact then. It's
I don't know what I'd run as those auxiliary formations.
You'd probably just
None of
run
them
the
grab
tanks.
me.
Just
Yeah.
run the tanks.
I'd definitely run the War Cabal. And I'd definitely try to max out MSU style. It's just
Min units of Rubric.
yeah, go 3 units of 5 Rubric. Probably you can't have the Gatling turret in a unit 5 though, can you?
You can't, no. You need 10 to have the Reaper.
Where is it?
Soul Reaper, yeah.
That's fine. Just 550 points for them, and then a Rhino. Just keep it at that. Make some 185 points. Just 3 of them. And then
the Rhino's great because your Sorcerer can fire powers out the roof.
And then you just take 3 units of Terminators, 1 with a Soul Reaper each. Just because those Soul Reapers are quite good.
And then 3 basic Sorcerers and an Exalted, maybe?
Yeah, you can take the basic Sorcerer.
Because this is the one...
I might put Ahriman in that, because Ahriman's quite good.
Because this is the one of the formations that really is small enough in terms of its requirements that you could get the favoured as Tzeentch roll, and on the Terminators that's really good.
Yeah, that's really good on the Terminators.
Especially if they deep strike.
So, the War Coven is interesting with all the Sorcerers, but I'm not sure if I'd take it. The Tzaangor Herds, probably not.
Here's a thought, right? On the War Coven. Oh no, because you have... No, maybe not with the War Coven, but with the Cabal, the Sorcerers and the Exalted Sorcerers can pick from Malefic Demonology, right?
Yeah, but just remember that if you're casting Demonology and you're not a demon, you perils on any double.
You can take a Demon Prince. Have it led by a level 3 Demon Prince, spamming out summoning powers, so that can bulk the size of your army as well.
Summoning eats warp charges though, and you're quite heavy on psychic here. You want to be using
1,
your
2,
psychic.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You've got 12 warp charges in this formation.
The sorcerer in the Marine units are only level 1.
Yep, so 1, 2, 3 for the Scarab Occult, 4, 5, 6 for the Rubric.
The ones in the Occult are level 2. So that's 2, 4, 6 in the Occult.
So 9
for the Marines. Level 3 Sorcerer for the Exalted. That's 12.
And then 3, even if you took minimum Sorcerers, that's 15. You get a lot of warp charge with this army.
Plus your D6.
Plus your D6, so you get.
But you want 7 for a reliable summon.
You want 7 for a reliable summon.
That's eating half your warp charges already.
But then you've probably got other Psychers elsewhere.
So I'm not sold on the herd, the war herd. The
Sekhmet?
No.
Too expensive.
Too expensive. Ahriman's Exiles could be interesting. Not that I'd take it at max, I'd probably run that as minimum. Just 3 Exalted Sorcerers and Ahriman.
Harnessing on a 3+ is a little bit nicer. And the Rahati is... I think you take that because you really, 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 really want Magnus.
Yeah. I'd be almost inclined to run this as a CAD. The benefits aren't great. I mean, the reroll 1 saves.
What you can do is you can always run a CAD with a formation. So you could run...
Let's go through this discipline, actually.
Okay,
there's ways to build it. We haven't number crunched it yet, though.
Yeah, we'll probably want to run some number crunching, but I'm just thinking, if you ran a cheap sorcerer or demon prince as your leader, and 2 min units of Tzaangors as your troops, you could then run Magnus and the War Coven. Not the War Coven, the War Cabal.
Yeah.
So you get the benefits of the War Cabal, and you're also a CAD.
There is that. So onto the discipline of Tzeentch. So the Primus is Tzeentch's Firestorm. Warp charge 1, 24-inch range, strength D6 plus 1, assault 1, blast, Inferno. Inferno is for each model you remove, they suffer D3, strength 3, AP dash hits.
That's alright for a warp charge 1 Primaris. A little bit random with the strength, but...
you could hit some infantry with it.
Yeah, that's for blasting little guys.
So, first, number 1, Boon of Mutation, Warp Charge 1, Blessing, targets a single friendly character within 2 inches.
Why do I feel that that's a misprint and it should say 12? 2 inches? What's that?
The character takes a strength 4 AP dash hit. If the character survives, he must immediately roll on the Chaos Boon.
Re-rolling Dark Apotheosis, so you can't even print him with that.
Yeah.
Ooh, if that is 2 inches, then you're in the same unit or targeting yourself, and you hit yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I grow an extra tentacle.
So number 2, Bolt, Doom Bolt. Warp charge 1, beam, 18-inch beam, strength 8, AP 1, assault 1, detonate. Vehicles that suffer explode 2d6.
That's pretty nice as a beam if you've got compact armour. Say you're going up against...
Hot trucks, bang!
Hot trucks. I was thinking Lehman Russes maybe, but Razorbacks. Razorback spam.
Space Marines are not like that.
And AP1 as well, so you're getting +2, so you will get some explodes.
Number 3, Siphon Magic. Warp charge 1.
Blessing that targets the Psyker. For the rest of the Psychic phase, each time a friendly model successfully manifests a power within 18 inches, place a dice next to the model. Any dice accrued in this manner can be used by the Psyker as bonus warp charge points. So
you basically throw that 1 or 2 dice at that at the start of your phase, and you'll be like sucking up other warp charges, and then like do that on Magnus.
And then have the rest of like the Rahati around him, or just guys near him.
And then at the end, sling that D out.
Because, you know, it's 1 dice for every successful cast.
Yeah.
So with this type of army, you could have 7 successful casts within 18 inches of Magnus. There's your 7 dice. He's basically cast off that D-beam for free.
Yeah.
So Magnus, if you play him right, could be brutal.
Number 4, Breath of Chaos. It's Warp Charge 2. It's a Witchfire template, Strength 1, AP 2, Assault 1, Corrosion, Poison 4+. Does a glancing hit on a
4+ to vehicles.
4+, yeah.
So it's poison 4+. It's also effectively poison 4+ against vehicles on an AP2 flamer. The only issue there being lack of range, but this would be a good one for like a sergeant in a Sekhmet squad, because they deep strike down and then they fire off all their bolters, but they've also got this as a flamer option.
Yeah. And then
Baleful Devolution.
So this is another Warp Charge 2. It's a focus Witchfire. There's a lot of Witchfires in here, so your sorcerers that are in your squads will be happy with this discipline because they can sling spells out the top. So range 18, strength 6, AP 2, assault D6, transmogrification. So that's the one on a 6 instant death, and he becomes spawn.
And that's assault D6, probably being fired by a model that's BS4 or 5. Strength 6 AP 2, you know, you're going to kill a few models with this. If you're lucky, you'll get a spawn. If you're really lucky, you could make multiple spawn.
And Treason of Tzeentch. Warp Charge 3, Malediction targets an enemy non-vehicle unit within 24. It's not locked in combat. You can immediately make a shooting attack with every model in the unit as if it were a friendly unit. When resolving these attacks, units count as not having moved in the previous.
As not having moved in the previous. So they count as stationary, so if you've moved your Devastators, they can still fire at full BS with regards to this. And after the attacks have been resolved, the units must take a pinning test.
So I'm going to shoot you with your own unit, and then I'm going to pin your own unit, so you can't shoot me with it. Dick.
Wrath Centurions.
Yep.
Wraith Knight.
Wraith Knight can't be pinned.
No, but it can fire off 2D shots at your own army.
Storm Surge. They're like, oh, you haven't fired your D missiles yet. Dush, 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 dush. That was a waste.
Okay, this is going to be a lot of trickery with this army. I think it's an army that's either going to collapse under weight of fire because it's too elite, or blast your opponents off the board before they can do anything.
And then you've got all the new disciplines in there.
You want to know more about the new disciplines? They're not new.
They're the Space Marine ones, aren't they?
They're the Space Marine
Are they actually the Space Marine ones, or have they been...
They've been renamed to give them appropriately chaosy names, but they are the Space Marine ones, so check out my video on Space Marine Psychic Powers for that.
So, Forces of Thousand Suns, got a few artifacts in here. Should we run through these?
We've got a few special rules here. So when you're picking a Thousand Suns army, let me see, any detachment of the Chaos Space Marines faction can be Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns detachment retains the Chaos Space Marine faction with the following modifications. They can only take, in terms of unique models, you can only take Ahriman or Magnus, which makes sense. You're not suddenly going to have Abaddon in a Thousand Suns
Typhus
unit.
isn't going to sharpen your Thousand Suns army.
Units that can take Mark of Tzeentch must do so. So I think this implies you can take like regular Chaos Marines as long as they're Tzeentch marked. Units with a Mark of Chaos other than the Mark of Tzeentch can't be taken. Makes sense, you're not going to have Khorne Berserkers in there. All units that can do so must upgrade to Veterans of the Long War.
That sucks.
Any Demon Prince, but can do so at no additional points cost.
Oh, you get
you get free Veterans of the Long War. Any Demon Prince in this detachment must have the Demon of Tzeentch rule. Psykers in this detachment can choose to generate all their psychic powers from the discipline of Tzeentch. And it says can, obviously we know from what we've seen earlier they can choose other ones, so it's just an extra option. It's also got the following limitations. Thousand Suns gain the following special rules. Blessing of Tzeentch. All units with Veterans of the Long War are when they're affected by a blessing, their invulnerable save is improved by 1 until the start of the next psychic phase.
That's really good, considering you already have +1 to your invulnerable on a lot of things because of Mark of Tzeentch.
Yeah, so you already have a lot of them have Dark Aura. 4+ invulnerable for Mark of Tzeentch. They go up to 3+ invuln if they're hit by any blessing.
And some of those formations you could be re-rolling once. Man, that's brutal. I mean, they'll be tough as hell to kill.
But the thing is, you could potentially just still dagger them down with light shots.
Well, that's the thing. You're not going to have the models to compete. You're going to have 6 units, I reckon, in your army.
All units with the Veterans of the Long War can re-roll to hit in every round of close combat when attacking Space Wolves. However, all Space Wolves have the Hatred Thousand Suns rule.
That's like what they did for the Renegade Knights. Oh, by the way, you can have hatred, but if you have it, they have it as well.
It's only fair, but also your hatred is better because it's every round. Theirs is only in the first round. Although, to be honest, if Space Wolves have got into combat with these guys, you're probably lost unless you're Magnus.
So...
Legacy of the Rubrici. Units of Rubric Marines are troops instead of elites. So clearly what they mean with this is that you can take these units in a Chaos force. So you could take a unit of Sekhmet in a standard Chaos force.
Yeah.
But if you choose to be Thousand Suns...
If you take the Thousand Suns detachment, they come troops automatically.
Yeah. So they are...
So you could take a standard Chaos army, and if you took Ahriman, they could become troops.
Mm-hmm.
But if you took a Thousand Suns army, which I can't see why you wouldn't, because this is the only way I've seen make Chaos really good. These are really good benefits. So I'd do this for running standard Chaos, unless I'm not a Tzeentch person. Which I'm not!
He is the chosen of Khorne.
Yeah.
And finally, a Warlord from a Thousand Suns can choose to... oh, hang on. You can get... sorry, there's a few more. You can get artifacts from the Thousand Suns list.
Which are on this list
and
here.
you can get Warlord traits from the Thousand Suns list. So, yeah.
Right.
What are we? We're nearly an hour. I think we've got time to run through these. What time is it, anyway?
Yeah. Well, I'll
yeah, there's time.
check the clock. What time are we at? Late.
Yeah, we got time to run this through, though. We've got 20 minutes.
We'll run the artifacts through. Might have to do the demon half another day, because there's another...
Oh, there's a demon half as well?
Yeah, there's demons in here as well. So, there's a few missions. Chaos demons.
Are these going to be the Chaos Tzeentch? Oh, no. Okay. Right, we're going to whiz through these, because those demons look cool.
So, artifacts, you got...
The Astral Grimoire. At the start of the movement phase, pick the bearer or a single unit of infantry within 12. For the duration of the phase, they have jump infantry.
That could be interesting if you're like, I'm going to pick that unit of Thousand Suns. Hop, Rapfire.
I'm going to pick that unit of Sekhmet Terminators who are going to drop down within 6 inches of you, rapid fire you, and then charge you.
Yeah.
Seer's Bane.
Why would they be able to charge if they deep strike?
They don't deep strike. No, not in the turn they deep strike, but like a later turn. You think, oh, they're a long way away, they're Terminators, they're maybe even behind something. They jump back over it, and then charge. Not
that's 30 points. It's alright.
It certainly gives some unpredictability. Unpredictability for your opponent, though. You know what you're going to do. Your opponent knows at any moment one of your units could suddenly strap on jetpacks.
Oh, this is interesting. The Seer's Bane.
Yeah.
So it's a 40-point weapon. It's a melee weapon, strength user, AP2, melee, Bane of Wisdom, demon weapon, and force. So it's a demon weapon, so that's pretty cool already.
Against non-vehicle targets, the strength value is equal to the bearer's leadership characteristic, and all to wound rolls are made against the target's leadership. However, use the target's toughness value when determining whether or not it's instant death.
So basically you're always wounding on a 4.
Because you're going to be leadership 10.
Yeah. Equal to the bearer's leadership?
Yes, so...
Yeah, you're equal to your leadership, so 10.
Versus rolling against your targets, which is never going to be higher than 10, so at worst you're wounding on a 4.
Well, your average is around 8, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends what you're targeting. If you're fighting the Space Marine Captain, yeah, 4s. Going against orcs, you're wounding on a 2.
So you're instant deathing everything as well, but non-vehicle you're still only like strength 4. Not against vehicles.
Against non-vehicles, you're essentially, most targets are wounding on a 2 or a 3.
You think that against a Storm Surge? That's quite funny.
What's the leadership of the Storm Surge?
Like 7 or 8.
So
you're wounding on 2s. But you're not instant definite.
You're not instant. What's toughness 5? Centurions. Centurions hate this.
Yeah. But it is 40 points for a melee weapon. You're not massively melee army.
No, I probably wouldn't take it as cool as it sounds.
The Helm of the Third Eye, 20 points.
The wearer and any unit he joins can fire Overwatch even if they have slow and purposeful. Units that do not have slow and purposeful instead fire Overwatch at BS2.
So stick that in a unit of Terminators.
Stick that on a Sorcerer, in a unit of Terminators, and those Terminators... But then who's charging you? Who's charging Terminators?
Well, if you're deep striking, Gene Still Occult want to charge Terminators, Orcs want to charge Terminators.
True. And BS2 re-rolling to hit is pretty good.
Yeah, especially with the AP3. So Staff of Arcane
Compulsion has only 10 points.
That's pretty cool.
It's a force staff basically, but it gains repelling sweep
and concussive, melee concussive, force,
I
sweeping
think
strike.
Force staff has concussive anyway.
I don't think it does.
Oh, okay.
But plus your strength AP4. Reaping strike. Any attempts to charge?
To charge the bearer in his unit must subtract 2 from their charge roll.
That's pretty cool. So if you put a unit in cover, they're subtracting 4 from their charge roll. That's a pretty cool staff.
That is actually really good, and 10 points. Put that on a sorcerer who's maybe running with 10 Rubrici.
Yeah. What's that?
Coruscator. So the Coruscator is a 20-point ranged weapon. It is range 12, strength 4, AP3, pistol, blast. That's why it's 20 points, because it's blast.
Blast and soul place. Not really worth it.
No, too many points for a pistol.
And
the Athenaean Scrolls.
20 points again.
If the bearer if the bearer makes a successful psychic test that includes 2 or more dice of the same number, the power has been manifested with such unstoppable force that the target cannot deny the witch.
Ha! That's awesome. No deny the witch view if I roll 2 of the same dice.
To be honest, I don't think you're going to get denied very often though.
No.
And if you deny that, I'll just deny another one. Yeah, but most units are denying on a 6 anyway. They're not going to have enough powers to stop you.
Right, do we want to cut this here and go to a second video?
I think we're going to cut this here, and then we're going to take a look at the demon parts separately. See you in a minute.